going on, everybody? This is Sean of Ross Like Music. Today I want to talk about this record right here. This is Floating Points, Pharoah Sanders in the London Symphony Orchestra's Promises, released on David Byrne's label Luca Bop on March 26th. 2021. When this album first got announced, I got super excited for it, but due to availability issues, I wasn't able to pick it up until recently. But now that I've gotten my hands on it, and I've listened to it quite a few times, I wanted to share my thoughts and opinions of this record with you guys, and let you know if it's worth checking out. So with all that being said, let's talk about this guy. After listening to Floating Points' album Aliana in 2015, I think that's how you say it, jazz saxophonist legend Pharoah Sanders met with Sam Shepard, aka Floating Points, over lunch and decided to work on a project together, resulting in this guy right here. Sam Shepard, electronic music producer, DJ, keyboard enthusiast, vinyl enthusiast, and just overall super genius, the man has a PhD in neuroscience, composed and wrote a 46-minute piece, played a multitude of instruments, and recorded the album with Sanders in the summer of 2019, with the London Symphony Orchestra recording the strings for the album separately in the summer of 2020. The critical response to this part jazz, part ambient, part neoclassical piece has been overwhelmingly positive, with many outlets calling it one of the best albums of the year, and Mojo Magazine going as far as calling it the best album of the year. So where do I stand in all of this? I gotta agree with pretty much all of the critical response to this. This is easily one of my favorite albums of the year, if not my favorite album of the year. It's beautiful, striking, amazing, soothing, climactic, original, creative, whatever you want to throw in. Essentially, it just covers all the bases for me in terms of the reasons why I listen to music. It is an absolute work of art, in my opinion. But unfortunately, I feel like there's really not a lot that I can do in terms of trying to sell you on this. I feel like talking about this record really just sort of brings me back to the often misattributed but often used expressions when it comes to musical criticisms, and that's talking about music is like dancing about architecture. And I really feel like me sort of going into the nitty-gritty of this record really isn't going to do it any justice. You really ought to just listen to it for yourself. And thankfully, Luca Bop was kind enough to put out a stream of the 46-minute piece over on their YouTube channel, which I will have a link to down in the description, as well as bringing you over to my WordPress where I'll post the music link to that. But simply put, this album is just gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. And that right there is the reason that I am absolutely in love with this. It's moving, it's beautiful, it's relaxing, it's tense. It covers pretty much every sort of musical mood that I sort of look for when it comes to music in general, and does it brilliantly. Floating Points basically sets up the piece with this brief little keyboard, synth, piano, melodic motif, and that basically becomes the anchor point for this entire piece, as it sort of becomes the central focus and then often gets pushed into the background. And along the way, Pharoah Sanders will pepper in some brilliant, tastefully placed saxophone lines, sometimes that are perfectly complementary, and sometimes where they're obviously meant to really just stand out. And all the while, everything is being brought together by these beautiful climactic string swells and ambient synth keyboard swells that all culminate in these amazing climactic moments that often quickly dissipate and then come back. So it doesn't feel like it's just one moment of constant rising tension, but rather it feels like it's multiple movements of moving towards the climax and then quickly falling back down again, and then doing it over and over again throughout the entirety of this piece. And it makes that there's never a dull moment on here. It's the sort of ambient music where it works perfectly well to pay close attention to it, as well as still be able to appreciate it if it's just sitting in the background at the same time. And part of that is just due to the compositional nature of it. Part of it is due to the engineering genius of Sam Shepard himself, who honestly just makes music sound better than anybody else. Go back to 2015's Aliana, go back to 2019's Crush, and these are all just bits of evidence that shows that Floating Points is an engineering genius and really knows how to make like sonic space like nobody else. And that shows up here as well. The engineering and mastering on here is just absolutely brilliant. So at the end of the day, I really don't know what else to say about it. It is a brilliantly moving piece that's completely engaging throughout. It's relaxing, it's moving, it's touching, it's exciting. It's just honestly musical brilliance, and I absolutely love this project. So in conclusion, Floating Points, Pharoah Sanders, the London Symphony Orchestra, promises easily one of the best projects that I've heard this year. Check it out any way you can, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching. If you've listened to this project for yourself, please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. If you want to hear this project for yourself, please head over to my WordPress blog, because that's where I'll post music links to any of the records that I talk about on this channel. And make sure you follow me over on Twitch for Live from the Record Room, my weekly DJ live streams where I play records like the ones that I talk about in these videos, as well as a whole host of other records in my collection that I don't get a chance to talk about on this channel. Links to everything, as always, down in the description. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. So until then, peace out!